Good Monday, everyone. Welcome to GardenStateWeather.com and GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, providing superior forecasting for the northern mid-Atlantic region 24 hours a day. I'm forecaster Robert Smith, and here we are in the log cabin with the fire going, and the doggies retiring, and the trees are lit. Presents under the tree, candles here on top of the mantelpiece here, and of course we've got snow in the window, but not this year. This year, it's going to be rain instead of snow for most of the forecast region. This is the video forecast discussion for this Monday, the 21st of December, 2015. Chilly temperatures this morning despite the cloud cover, but not that unusual for this time of the year. Temperatures in the upper 20s over in the interior valleys, the low to mid 30s right along the coast, and in interior New York City, Long Island, northeastern New Jersey corridor, and also down to the Philadelphia and I-95 corridor as well. Currently right now, as of 9:45 or 10 a.m. this morning, temperatures are already rising from the mid and upper 30s over the interior valleys here into the low and upper 40s across the New Jersey, New York City metropolitan area. And we have quite a bit of cloud cover across the region as southwesterly winds are streaming in all the moisture in over the top of a deck of warmer air that's moving in over the top of the cold, dense air that was in place over the last 24 to 48 hours. Shortwave trough Mississippi Valley heads up towards New England today, or western New York actually, and basically just warm air advection, lots of clouds around the region, and increasing chances of precipitation over the week ahead. So unsettled conditions going forward this week, but a very mild trend is on the way, and we've got some gust here across the coastal areas of Long Island and New Jersey this morning out of the southwest, and the winds are only going to increase further in this warm air advection pattern that we're in here prior to Christmas Day itself. And Christmas Eve day is going to be quite mild despite cloud cover as well. Right now we have small craft advisories on the ocean fronts here from Jersey all the way down to the Delmarva here, and that's going to be until 6 o'clock this evening for the South Shore and east ends of Long Island until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. The VFR conditions expected to continue today as high pressure slides to the east. Cirrus has already overspread the region. We'll start to see the cloud decks lower as the low-level moisture increases. South to southwest winds gradually turning at 10 to 12 knots, gust up to 20 knots expected through the afternoon. Tonight, VFR conditions will continue into tonight, but continued increasing moisture in the lower levels will start to lower the cloud decks and bases as we expect MVFR conditions, possible IFR conditions to develop with all of this increasing moisture and mid-level shortwave energy moving towards the region. There'll be a chance for some rain to develop mainly after midnight tonight at the terminal. South and southwest winds will lighten up overnight, generally remaining less than 10 knots. Tuesday, rain, MVFR and IFR restrictions in the morning. Gradual improvement in the afternoon. Tuesday night, if skies clear out in the evening, low to medium confidence on that, then widespread fog could develop, resulting in IFR and LFIR conditions. If the clouds hang on longer, then we could see IFR restrictions from stratus itself. Wednesday, rain overspreads the area during the morning, continues into the afternoon. IFR likely, southwesterly winds 10 to 20 knots in the afternoon. Wednesday night, rain tapers off as a warm front lifts north of the region. There may be a gradual improvement in ceilings to MVFR from south to north. Confidence not so high there. Southwesterly winds will be breezy. Few showers are possible with the cold front late in the day and evening, improving to VFR overnight on Thursday night. Southwesterly winds will be breezy. Friday right now, Christmas Day, VFR. And we do have some microphone problems once again this morning. Outside of Newark, temperature 41, dew point 32, humidity 70%, visibility 10, and a few clouds at 20,000 and 23,000. Light rain moves into the terminals late tonight into tomorrow morning. Right now outside of Philadelphia, 49, dew point 34, humidity 56%, wind southwest 12. A few clouds at 17,000, 22,000, 27,000. Light rain after early tomorrow morning. VFR conditions otherwise in place. 500 millibar pattern going into the future from the end of this month into the beginning of January. There are definitely a lot of signs here that a change in the structure of the atmosphere as a whole is occurring, and the model guidance is beginning to catch up to it. Now, this is the 500 millibar height, not the actual height anomalies themselves, but the actual forecasted height anomalies as we go into early January. We're still in a very active pattern here. We've got branches of the polar vortex still to the north here, up near the poles, and all the cold air still locked up here in Canada, north of Hudson's Bay. Got quite a lot of snowpack through this region here, even to portions of the Colorado Rockies and the northern extent of the northern tier of the United States, but still a very mild pattern, very mild so, in fact, record-breaking as we head into Christmas Eve day itself along the East Coast. Now, the thing that we walk away with in this change is a very changeable atmosphere as we head into the later part of December and early January. We can definitely see the continuing shift and separation, or not separation, but the expansion and weakening of the polar vortex over the poles here, even down to the 500 millibar tropospheric level here. And we're finding low pressure areas beginning to cut off here. This is colder anomalies here in the southwest as we head into December 27th. Still very mild with storms cutting up through the Great Lakes, bringing warm fronts and cold fronts through the region, and plenty of mischievous rain with very strong subtropical jet across the region and very warm air with the height fields here across the eastern United States. We have no blocking in the northern Atlantic either, so the systems right now are going to continue to move in this direction because the main troughs will be digging in through the central plains and then generally moving to the east, but weakening so as they do run into the ridge. So what's going to happen by the time we get to the early part of December, or the later part of December, early part of January? So the structure here is beginning to change, and the wholesale values are beginning to change too. Still a very active polar jet stream with disturbances and strong storms moving from the Pacific Northwest into the plains. It's a very highly volatile area for winter storms and heavy precipitation rain events here. The storms lift up through the Great Lakes region. Now, still not seeing wholesale changes yet, but we are beginning to see a wholesale change package by the time we get into early January. These are pieces of the polar vortex, even at the 500 millibar level, that are beginning to stretch and break away. We can definitely find a change here with the PNA going positive, or starting to do so, and the model guidance and teleconnections are beginning to show that a ridge is beginning to build here. The trough axis building southwest now of the Aleutian Islands. That means wholesale changes with a more trough position here across the eastern United States, and mischievous storms rushing up the coast, still on the warm sector, providing chances of rain and mixed precipitation for parts of New England, and mostly rain for the northern mid-Atlantic states. And by the time we get to the end game here, this is where things begin to change. We've got a ridge axis beginning to build up through the Northwest Territories, down through the West Coast, and we've got a very strong Aleutian low here building back towards the south of the Aleutian Islands, and also south of the Gulf of Alaska here. And this eventually means that this ridge is going to begin to fight and find more blocking now developing in the height fields here at 500 millibars south of Greenland here, and this polar vortex beginning to split in a couple of directions, with one vortice moving down towards Hudson's Bay, Canada, and eventually a lot of this polar air will begin to feed into the eastern United States, probably during the first, at least second week of January, and change the weather pattern quite substantially. GFS maps into motion. Here's our warm sector here, high pressure off the coast, and here comes the rain showers across the region, mainly to the west of our forecast region through tonight, early tomorrow. Could get more pockets of moderate rain around here Tuesday morning into Tuesday afternoon as the warm front begins, and another short wave here in low pressure area over southeastern Canada pushes the warm, mild, moist air in from off the ocean and from the south across the forecast region. That moves out with a period of drying later Tuesday night into early Wednesday. Then the next moderate to heavy rain event with deep low pressure moving into the lakes here, and a warm surge of moisture just to the west of the mountains here begins to move the rain shield in and over the forecast region. Then eventually the cold front will be moving through the region during Thursday afternoon, and it's still going to be mild around here despite the cloud cover. Temperatures in the 60s to around 70. Could even possibly see some low 70s if there are any breaks in the cloud cover, which we're not forecasting at this time, but it's quite possible. Cold front really itself is not that cold, as most of the cold air, once again, as forecasted, is still trapped up here into Canada. Now, what happens over the weekend is determined by a break area of high pressure that moves into the region on Friday night and Saturday, which is Christmas night and Saturday morning, December 26th, and then the front begins to stall out, returns back as a warm front, and we could get pockets of rain around here developing across the region again late Saturday night and early on Sunday as the front becomes nearly stationary across the forecast region. And we'll be in and out with periods of rain Saturday night, Sunday morning. The front will begin to sink back to the south early during the week as more high pressure begins to nose in on Monday the 28th. Here comes another storm system here as we head in towards the last finishing part of December of 2015. It's going to turn out to be one of the mildest Decembers on record. A deep low pressure here again moving towards the lakes, warm front, rain shield to our west. Here comes the rain. All of the cold air still locked up in Canada. No expecting any precipitation other than rain across the forecast region. This would be for Tuesday morning and Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday night. That moves out of the forecast region. The end game here is that more high pressures begins to build in across the forecast region as we end into Wednesday, December 30th. Of course, December 31st, we have another frontal boundary stall to the south, high pressure building in across the Great Lakes into the northeast, colder air situation building in overall. But predominantly, if we see any precipitation, it would be in the form of rain. Even a slight chance of snow on Thursday, December 31st is unlikely at this time. And then, of course, here as we move into January, things get quite interesting as more clipper storms begin to develop, move into the Great Lakes, and probably spread its first swath of light snow across the forecast region. That could occur in the first part of January here as storm system jumps from the Great Lakes to off the southern mid-Atlantic coast states. And much colder air. This is polar air now building in, and somewhat Arctic air building into the forecast region as we head into the first part of January. And that means that the weather pattern is going to start to get active from here on in. Mild temperatures for today, mid to upper 50s across the forecast region. Temperatures on Tuesday even milder, 61 degrees across the New York City metropolitan area, Philadelphia as well. By the time we get into Wednesday, 59 to 64 degrees, unprecedentedly warm air. Temperatures getting close to 70 degrees. It could get up to as much as 72 in Philadelphia on Christmas Eve itself. It's really definitely not going to feel like Christmas Eve across our forecast region. Temperatures on Friday back a little bit to about 61, still some 20 degrees above normal. And temperatures on Saturday, again, getting closer to normal, but still out of sight. We're still 15 degrees or more above normal, 55 to 58 degrees. And by the time we get into Sunday, temperatures about steady, 55 degrees across the forecast region, which again is some 10 to 15 degrees above normal for this time of the year. And we'll be taking a look at the latest ENSO information on El Nino coming in this afternoon from the Climate Prediction Center. And of course, we'll have a special video at some point during tonight or tomorrow morning, most likely later tonight, on where the pattern is going here. We've got a lot of information to talk about on the latest observations on the stratosphere and all the model guidance going forward as we head into and past the holiday weekend and into the first part of January. And by the way, January looks to be very volatile and active, not necessarily very wintry yet, but we're definitely on our way. So for everything live, it's Garden State Weather, GardenStateWeather.com, GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. I'm forecaster Robert Smith. You have a good Monday out there, and we'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning. A special video probably coming out later this evening.